Good day, friends! Today we have an evening live broadcast that we do it in the format of business conference, which means that we can ask questions to Evgeny, the founder of RB Core Company, and accordingly Zhenya. Thank you all very much to finding the time to pay attention to us, because I know that there's a lot of negotiations going on right now, Zoom after Zoom, you don't sleep at night, and honestly, I'm really worried about this. Because we need you alive, of course, energetic, healthy, cheerful, and even more. And therefore, of course, it's our pleasure to distract you as small as possible and just be happy about the income. And since we talked about that, let's just start from it. Please tell us, can you explain to us right now what our income is for today, for the current day, and so to speak, about the pools? And in general, I'd also like to ask, explain this issue in a bit more details, because our partners are asking the following question: how is the income formed in principle? You said during the last live broadcast that it's rather difficult to calculate because firstly the pools are different and the income from them differs slightly. Could you explain a bit more? And another question related, for example, if a person invested funds, say, at 2 p.m., then when exactly does he receive the profit and when does this credit it to his wallet? That is the question. Alright guys, hello everyone, thank you for coming, and let's go straight to the questions. So, the first one. Actually, let's go with the second one, regarding timing. We have certain regulations for payouts, the automatic payouts of course, and it implies the following. I will try to say in more easier plain human terms rather than technical ones. For example, if you registered from 12 p.m. and launched the bot at the same time, then your payout will take the place from 12 to 12:30. And if your payout happened at 12:30, then a shift occurs, a time shift. That means the next day you receive it from 12:30 to first hour. So there's a certain shift over time, but I want to emphasize that no matter how it shifts, we're currently fixing this point as well. We're moving toward tying everything to the start time, so that there are no shifts and no such questions in the future. But at the moment, this is all in beta testing, we haven't rolled it out yet, so some time shifting still occurs. But I want to emphasize that automatic payouts will still happen in any case, even if someone logged in, for example, at 11 at night, and because of this shift it seems to him, from the partner's point of view, that he kind of skips a day. In any case, he still receives profit. Like 1.5 days or for 1 day and 2 hours. In any case, there's automatic payouts of the amount earned for the period. Even if a person has some overlap in the time schedule, he still receives payment for a full day plus some extra. Like a day and 2 hours. He still gets that amount. Yes, of course. This doesn't really matter and it could be left unchanged, but for the convenience of the partners, because there are such requests, we decided to change this model and tie it specifically to the start time of the deal. For example, 30-minute window, you start at 12, so the payout will be from 12 to 12:30 every day, and basically this will work the same way for all partners, regardless of what time the bot was activated. That's regarding this point. As for the pools, yes, look, the pools are different. Some people get into the first pool, some in the second one, some already in the third pool at the moment, and naturally in certain time ranges where trading takes place depending on the exchange, which is very important of course, the moment of entry. There are some changes in percentage rates. That means someone might have, for example, 1.5% per day, while someone else on a less favorable day might have 1.37 or 1.4%. Overall, the variation is small, and I repeat, if we focus on the daily percentage, right, I would say that is not entirely correct. But why? Here is the most important point. Why is it incorrect? Because the company has obligations. The company has fixed obligations of 250%, which means if you deposit $1,000, the company will pay you $2,500 over a period of 3 to 5 months. And for some people, whose percentage was supposedly a bit higher and whose pool was more successful, the contract will close in 4 months, for example, while others may close it in 4 months and 3 days. The difference actually not that big. But the most important things for both the company and the investor is that we knows exactly how much you will receive in the end. And the timing of receiving it may differ depending on which pool the person gets into. In reality, if you look at in days, the difference from 1 to maximum 3 or 4 days. That's the entire difference. In any case, you will receive what the company guarantees you. You will receive your income in monetary terms, no matter what. Therefore, if we talk about overall profitability, I wouldn't, let's say, be too upset about it. Of course, some people do get upset, maybe someone had a slightly lower pool or entered at the arbitrage that wasn't as profitable as someone else's, but on the other hand, it really makes no sense to worry about it, because in any case, the company must pay this total amount in the end. And again, the difference is from 1 to 4 days. Please tell us, make us happy today with the profitability percentage. If we take all the different pools together, what is today percentage yield for these 24 hours? I'd be happy to, but I can't do that. I can't make you happy right now, because I didn't even log into the admin panel today. I simply didn't have time for that. I don't know the statistic for yesterday, for the evening, or for today, because I literally haven't left Zoom meetings for a bit. So I honestly just don't know. I could make something up or prepare for this question, but I don't want to pull numbers out of my head. I roughly understand the average because deals also running now on my phone, just like yours. I could take a quick look right now, but that would be illogical, kinda. I agree. I just couldn't make it in time. Yes, I understand, and let's do it this way. After our live stream, we'll post this figure in the chat so people can see it. Actually, I'd like to clarify this point a bit. You're absolutely right. Every investor or active partner can track their own profit in their personal account because we receive this amount automatically. For example, with $5,000 that I currently have active, I receive every day approximately a bit over $100. Just something near that. Sometimes it's 160 or 60, 199. It varies. And today I also haven't checked this figure yet, so we'll definitely announce it a bit later after the stream. Here's a question from our partners. What is the best way to answer this? Let's say a person works with a team and has their own deposit. If they work with a team, naturally they must have their own deposit. If that deposit ends, if the contract ends and the person withdraws the funds, do they continue to receive bonuses from the team? Yes, we already discussed this point, but I repeat it since I touched on this topic earlier. Look, when the contract obligations are fully paid out, a person has two choices. First one, leave cooperation with us. The second option is to continue. If he leaves cooperation with us, all rewards that were coming to him gonna stop. If he stays with us, then he signs a new contract, and everything continues to work as usual. That's how the model is built. This model is beneficial for the company from a business point of view, and I'll explain why. Because when the first cycle ends, and here I want to make reference something Maria mentioned, many partners say, wow, such a great percentage. You know guys, honestly I would like this percentage to be 10% per day, or even 20, or maybe even 30. You might ask, how is that possible? Of course, such percentages are impossible in general, but I would want that. Why? Because the faster you contract close, the faster you receive the volume of the money that you deposit. That way I capitalize my own company. This gives me freedom of action, allows me to expand and scale. So the faster your contract ends, the faster I become the owner of your money. And then the second question arises. What's next? A crossroads. Either continue working with the company or not. This is a dual situation for both the company and the investor. On the one hand, if you bring a new capital and continue working, I hypothetically understand that I also be able to claim that second asset when the contract conditions are met. That's good for me. But what would happen in case if investor or partner leaves the project? Just a common investor or partner. What does the company lose? Absolutely nothing. Because the money that was generating income for the investor starts generating income for the company. Essentially, we lose nothing. We keep exactly the same income as before. It just no longer goes to the investor, it goes directly to the company. So both situations are beneficial for the company. Why do I keep saying for the company and we? Who are we? Where are we, you might ask? Well, look, you have partners who work in a network direction, build structure, marketing that in my opinion is quite good and profitable. And for investor, if we're talking about a purely fundamental investor, someone who doesn't build a team and doesn't work with people, he still has a fairly high and solid income. To, first of all, as many like to say, break even and make a profit. So, the model, let's say it built in such way that it's beneficial both for the company and for the investor in either scenarios. It's mutually beneficial. Business is built on mutual benefit, if we're talking about business. Of course, the company's interests, I personally pursue a certain model and a certain goal to develop the company and give it the opportunity to capitalize, and most importantly, stability. That's my essential and important goal here. If we look at the other products and projects in the internet, actual products, not some financial schemes, the main thing for the company is stability and scalability. That's exactly why this business model was chosen. It provides stability. And thanks to these ones, we can scale our service because it provides both stability and scalability. We can scale the company both from a technical standpoint and from a legal standpoint. And in this way, we accumulate a certain pool of liquidity, which is very important for the company as well. And even if an investor or partner leaves, the company has a financial instrument that allows it to stay afloat and continue earning for itself. That's basically how it works. Thank you for the answer. I'm actually reading a question in the chat right now about scaling, and you essentially already answered it. Let me add a bit from myself. We're now in a second trading week, and according to statistics from the first trading week, the maximum profitability was 3.16%. And the second trading week, if I remember correctly, there was also a day with around 3% profit. For example, yesterday the profit was 1.5% and it really changes every day. As an investor and as a partner, this actually makes me very happy because the income is generally very good. Rarely we do see more than 1% per day on a trading platform or in a project. So here it's much more we can get, which is great from the perspective. This is very cool because, as you said, we break even quickly, close the smart contract faster, and that allows us to enter into a new smart contract. And I want to clarify one more thing. Let's say a partner has a status, for example, the infinite rank, and his smart contract has ended. What does he need to do in this situation? Look, as for infinity status specifically, first of all, I will repeat once again, for the leaders, there's only 25 of them. And they are issued by the company itself at the current moment based on the performance results. What is grant, right? Let's go with that, grant infinity. What does it imply by itself if we're talking about infinity directly? It never ends. Never. If a partner is assigned grant infinity, the infinity level, then regardless of whether his deposit has ended or not, he continues to receive income under the network model. These are company partners. Infinity is received only by company partners and has no expiration. Excellent, yes, and it's great that you said this because Infinity is actually a separate story altogether. I would of course like to open this topic in more detail tomorrow at the presentation. As for the partner below that rank, say for example Diamond, in that case he needs to redeposit the amount for the contract back into deposit. Am I understand correctly? Yes, yes. Let's do a simple math. A person reaches a certain level, he closes 21st line, he needs to fulfill certain obligations, namely a personal deposit of $50,000 or its equivalent with additional cryptocurrencies are introduced. It doesn't matter. Let's take 50,000 for easy maths. Over a period of 3-5 months, he received $125,000. Accordingly, he have two choices: either open a new contract for 50,000 for those 125,000, or the person has earned money and leave. If you open a contract for 50,000, then for this, as far as I remember, the contract ends here and now. Just let me explain it. Literally right now, at the current time. And the person has a choice. Either immediately open a new contract, or he has some time to think. But during that thinking time, naturally the network model will still accrue if he has reached certain levels and heights. He has 48 hours to make a decision. After 48 hours, the network model closes. The person does not renew contract, naturally, accrual stops. But as soon as he does, for example, some force major happens, a week later he returns, he needs the funds somewhere, needed to close something, and he comes back, accordingly the network model restored back. Excellent. We jumped a bit ahead. Everything is only just starting for us. So of course such partners don't exist yet. Yes. Nevertheless, this is also an important point, and it's great that we discuss it. The next question. Let's return to our current reality. Can an investor pool change? Meaning, for example, today he's in one pool, and then he find out that the partner is in another pool. Aha, the profitability is higher there. Let me go here. Is something like this possible? No. No, it's not possible. Because in fact, the company distributes the pools. We collect certain volume of funds and distribute them into pools. As I already said in previous Zooms, conference, live broadcasts, the number of pools at the current moment is limited, no more than 1,000. That's very large volumes if we're talking in monetary terms. We haven't grown to that yet, but over time, not maybe, but definitely, we will, and then we make certain expansions. But overall, how does the system itself work? I also reviewed it in Zoom briefly, when I explained how all the processes work under the hood, behind the circuits. How does it happen? Essentially, we collect, for example, a pool of $120,000, just something near investor funds, and we distribute them 40 to 40 to 40. We distribute these three pools, and arbitrage starts. And here it's impossible to jump into another pool or find a better offer for yourself. In principle, it makes no sense because in any case, a person will receive what is written in the contract. I don't see any sense, any logic in this. First of all, a person physically cannot do it, and second, I don't see any reasons to do it. Give the person a choice to move into pool number 1, number 2, number 3. If we're talking specifically about 3 pools right now, this could be implemented technically, hypothetically. But in essence, I don't think it would be correct, because the partner knows the final result anyway. Again, returning to the first question, it makes no sense. Because today you might get into the good pool and tomorrow into a less good one, and vice versa. A partner who was today in less good pool might end up in better one tomorrow. There is still a certain model, not equalization, let's say, but rather a chance. Which pool gets hit and how the arbitrage bot reacts. how it trades. This is just an arbitrage model. Prediction 100% that some pool will always perform well is nonsense. That doesn't happen. It may give a good trade today or happen to get into a favorable daily trading window, and tomorrow it may get into a bad one. So, if we gave such an option, a model where a person chooses which pool to enter, it wouldn't lead to anything. It's a dead end. A person would look at yesterday, aha, pool 3 have 3%, while today he had 2%, so tomorrow he goes to pool 3 and there he gets 2%. And the pool he left today will show 3.5%, while the one he entered shows 1.5%. So overall, I don't see any reasons, any actual reasons. If we didn't have a final results, how much investors get over the entire period, if we didn't know the exact figure and exact goal, then maybe. But we know the exact number, and the investor knows the exact goal. And the goal is the same for everyone. You put in 1000, you get 2.5. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Jenny. Here's an additional question related to this point. The pools are launched simultaneously, right? Yes, look. In common, they are launched simultaneously, plus or minus within about 5 seconds. But at that time frame, but as they grow, and by the way, we'll be displaying these as well, just like in Telegram. I digress from the question for a moment, and just to come back to it. We're currently actively developing the web version of a site with the technical team. This will be good news. I think good news for everyone. We will immediately show all the cryptocurrencies we will be working with according to the roadmap, more than 20 cryptocurrencies, and we also deploy in the core that those who attended the technical review saw how everything works behind the curtain. We're deploying it in the web version so that people understand what real arbitrage actually looks like. And not only say in Sol, as it works now, or in Ethereum, which will be enabled in a week, or in some other cryptocurrency. They will be able to view any spread here and now in real time, in any cryptocurrency, because all cryptocurrencies will be added to this list. The Web 2 itself will be much richer, both informationally and visually, because there's simply more space to display this. Telegram is like, on exchanges there's a professional interface and there's a simplified user interface. When you switch to the user interface, everything is simple. 3 buttons. Telegram is like those 3 buttons, if we compare it to each other. The web version, on the other hand, is a tool where we can really show ourselves, where we can demonstrate different models. And in principle, we have enough space to do this, because stuffing the mini up with information that would generally be too complex for the user and would also increase the app's weight doesn't make much sense. We don't see any alternative to this, but in the web version, partners who prefer working through the website will of course have more detailed information and be able to understand everything more deeply, because they have more space to dive deep. Telegram will remain a simplified model, of course. As for pools, when a certain number of pools is reached, there will inevitably be delays, meaning they will not operate fully synchronously. Achieving synchronization isn't difficult, it's just a specific request we send to the core and it generates, but from the perspective of verification, if we're talking about 3 pools, 10 pools, 20 pools, it's not difficult to check. But when we're talking about 1,000 pools, starting synchronization, the load on the processing bots, not even the server side, but the bots that check at the given moment whether they should enter a trade, wait or form an order first, becomes significant. And don't forget, I digress again. This is technical. When we enter arbitrage, if the order book is overloaded, we can place certain orders for a specific amount and pick them up at the favorable price. But at all, the model works a bit differently. We form prices ourselves by opening a new pool using a large number of small amounts that together form the pool itself. And thus, we are first in cure because the exchange itself is not actually the executor of orders. The executor are people, just people. The exchange is simply the tool that connects one person to another and takes it to commission. Many people confuse arbitrage with trading against the exchange. That's not the case. The exchange doesn't care what price you set. It only matters whether someone is willing to buy or sell it at that price. And when you form the order book first, you have more chances to sell at the same price you want. And these are pennies, micro pennies. But on volume, they show good results. That's just a detail here where I can go in with this. Small pieces. Controlling, for example, 1,000 pools simultaneously, altogether, if they were synchronized, would probably be difficult and would load the system to the top. And we're talking about 10,000 pools, then we definitely need to use a certain time frame. How does it affect the investor? The investor can enter as he does now, immediately, or after 10, 15, 20 minutes, and he will in any case end up in the pool that frees up first. So, in current model, this isn't a problem. But when the company reaches larger capitalization and many pools are operating, there will be still a delay of 2-3 seconds between pools. However, this won't affect the investor or the partner in any way, because he will still fall within a specific time window in a specific pool slot. Great. So thank you for detailed answer. I see that we have a huge number of questions in chat. I don't know if we answer all of them. We won't be here for an hour. We'll probably be talking our whole day, but still, let's cover the main questions. There's additional question about pools, but I probably answer it myself. At the same time, you can check how well I understand information as a partner and a leader. Look, you're asking how to check whether the funds have gone into the pool or into the balance. Well, it's elementary. You need to press the auto trading button, at least for partners, in order to do that. That basically is everything, so it's very simple. As for the website that we plan to launch, in the future, accordingly, additional opportunities for our investors, I mean finding not only via USDT on the TON network but also on other networks, and people are asking the questions, when will this finally happen? When will we be able to deposit funds, for example, in Bitcoin, Ethereum, in different networks? Look, the first stage, which is essentially the primary and the main one, is working with USDT. Let's say it like this, because USDT is basically the dollar. We are back to it, linked. Why do we time ourselves to some kind of a intermediate mode? In fact, it's both intermediate and fundamental. Because even when looking ahead we work with Bitcoin, we still convert from Bitcoin to USDT and from USDT to Bitcoin. USDT will still be the intermediate layer, but at the current moment, to understand all the processes, we choose the USDT model. You enter in USDT, you exit in USDT. This way you lock in your profit. As for USDT networks, yes, with the web version we will add their C20, your C20, Ethereum network, the Tron network, possibly BIP20, and if I remember correctly, Solana as well. So that's 5 networks for USDT that will be added, and a person will be able to deposit in any convenient way. As for volatile cryptocurrencies, there is an interesting mechanism here. In fact, let me explain with example. It's always easier to explain complex things this way. I have a partner who really loves Ethereum. Hypothetically, he knows or thinks he knows that at some point Ether may rise to $8,000, 9 or 10,000. It may sound like a legend, but honestly, I'm not surprised by anything. Markets can be very volatile, and I don't rule out that this could happen. I can't exclude that. So USDT doesn't interest him at all. He wants to multiply Ether itself. Will our British platform allow this? Yes, it will. A person will enter not in USDT but in Ether, and accordingly he will receive income in Ether as well. And here is the responsibility with the investor. If Ether drops, it doesn't matter to us. Arbitrage always remains arbitrage. It doesn't matter to us when we enter or what the price of Ether is. But for the investor, this can be either positive or negative experience. If a person fundamentally understands that he is ready to hold Ether, the Ether he multiplies for 1, 2 or 3 years and multiply exactly this unit, expecting some kind of pump at some point, then of course he will earn much more than the partner who sits on USDT. But the moment when the cryptocurrency drops, he simply increases the amount of that cryptocurrency, not its quality, so to speak. Again, to increase quality, time is needed. A person should not be chasing instant profit, here and now, to solve short-term life situations. For that, USDT is better. But for those who truly love cryptocurrencies, as I love it, and I know many partners love different cryptocurrencies, the main base of cryptocurrencies will be added, and you'll be able to multiply exactly the cryptocurrency you like. You will have that option. Use it in arbitrage strategies to earn that particular cryptocurrency. And for those who prefer stability, stable profit, and stable fixation, there will simply be more deposit options. Exactly different networks. Excellent. Thank you, Evgeny. Here's another question. In my opinion, it's interesting. I will partially answer it myself first. Oh, in fact, there's two questions. They just kinda go after each other. What is the number of partners in RB Core today, and accordingly, what is the capitalization? What is the maximum amount in general that would satisfy, let's say, your ambitions and needs? I mean, today is around almost $200,000, and the first week it was about $100,000. Before giving you the floor, I want to add something. Friends, our community is growing very fast, and naturally, capitalization is growing as well. Right now, as far as I know, we have around 2,000 people in the community. Tomorrow it could be 10,000 or even 65,000 people, accounts respectively, because Evgeny is currently holding large-scale negotiations. Big teams are coming in. And not just individual investors, entire communities are joining, and there are several of them. So scaling is happening at a very fast pace. So the question to you, Zhenya, what is the maximum amount after which RB would be enough? This is a very interesting question. I really would like to hear you answer. Well, let's put it this way. This is probably more of a philosophical discussion. As for the company itself, again, it depends on how the question is phrased. If we're talking about how much is enough for me personally, I already have enough. I already have everything. I have excellent living conditions, a lot of real estate, good car, a stable income from two of my companies. One is the internet business and, in addition, a business on the ground, mainly related to real estate. In complex, my needs are fully satisfied. Everything I want and can afford, I already allow myself. By the way, I wish the same for you. If I walk into a car dealership and see something new that I like, I buy it painlessly, because I know I have a financial safety cushion, financial background, financial literacy. And by the way, we'll also be teaching this, financial literacy in schools, how to properly manage the money you earn, because many partners, and one of them our leaders, suggested that this topic should be addressed. His name is Alexei. I don't know if he presented the Zoom right now. He mentioned that we should teach financial literacy. What do we do with the income we earn? We have a tool that generates income, but what do we do next? How do we turn our dreams into reality? Of course, everyone has different thresholds and different opportunities. Someone can enter with $100, someone with 10,000. We perfectly understand that with 10,000 income is higher and the opportunity is greater, but if you understand the product and work with it, you can overcome certain milestones. People needs are different. That's why I'm talking about financial literacy. In my opinion, such schools are needs. They need it so people don't just earn money, but also know how to manage it properly. By the way, another question I was asked: why did you implement auto payouts and not reinvestments? Many companies push people to reinvest, basically force them. No, guys, I don't want to push you to reinvest. I'm actually strongly forbid it. Why? Because the more you reinvest, the more obligations I have toward you. I want to have your money in the end. So don't reinvest, take it into your pocket. This is a pleasant digression for the investor. I'm not interested in reinvestments into the company as such. Earn money and distribute it to satisfy your life needs. As for the company, how much financial well-being would be enough for it? Enough for what? For the company to stop working? Or to say, that's it? We can't accept any more money? That's a very rhetorical question. If we talk about the company and its scaling, at $5 billion we would be one-of-a-kind entity, and at $100 billion we could become something completely different. It depends not so much on how much is enough for the company, but on how capable the management is of distributing funds correctly, including income to multiply these funds and scale the company. So the question of how much is enough, pretty rhetorical. It's never enough if you have long-term plans and understand how to implement them. As for the current threshold, the amount we can work with right now is around $50 million. $50 million. But when we reach this volume, and we definitely will, we will just expand. We are already preparing everything for the future, so that later. As they say, we don't run around in panic and make wrong decisions. Not with this stick upon us. Sorry for that. In fact, we're already scaling to some extent. We're preparing the groundwork now that there are no force majeure situation here, when capitalization suddenly grows sharply and we're not ready to handle it. No. We would have two options: either refuse partners, which is unprofitable for me because I lose trust and the community, or accept the money, but not be able to service it properly. And that would mean deception, which I don't want to. Because if money isn't working and just lie there, and you pay returns from something unclear, that leads to losses for the company in the end. So that model is also uninteresting. The interesting model is scaling and developing the company. And depending on the company's capitalization, not just money, but also community, depending on what kind of community we build. This gives momentum and direction for the company's future development. For me personally, the company is a tool, of course, as the arbitrage is a tool. And you are the team through which this tool works. We are one and the same, whole thing together. And the bigger we become, the higher the capitalization. The more freedom I have to build a fundamental business in a direction and scale it to certain heights. The trading strategy, the arbitrage strategy, there's no real boundaries because there are many markets right now. And I showed in a technical Zoom we're currently testing, let's go that way, 417 exchanges right now. We just need legal support to connect them all at the current time. But this process is ongoing. 417 instruments. If we assume that per day we use one instrument, say 2 exchanges, and run at least 10 pools of $100,000 each, well, roughly speaking, that's $2 million per pair. Multiply that by 470, and you can see what volume we can theoretically operate with. And let's not forget that scaling isn't only about sex. The tools are good, in my opinion. And there's also people who said that there's no spread in sex. The questions close very quickly for those who said something like that. Go to CoinMarketCap, enter SOL, multiply the difference between exchanges by volume, and surprisingly, the spread appears. You also have a market button in our Telegram bots, mini apps for now, where we show the spread in real time. Spread always exists, and it always will. No matter how much exchanges try to equalize the spread using bots and other tools, it will never fully disappear. Why? Because people themselves place orders and adjust prices. The exchange only acts as an intermediary, the middleman. So when people say everything can be equalized, no, it can't. And it never will. Because buying and selling power differs greatly between countries. Everything kinda make it counts for that. Because the model was tested on the Bitcoin as well, when price gaps reached $2,000–$3,000. Few people know this, but we already making money on this back then. Now the gaps are smaller, around $1,800 on Bitcoin, which is what we currently see in the core, where we test exchanges. They reduced the gaps, but they didn't eliminate them, and they will never will. Because markets are different, demand is different, communities are different, and exchange volumes are different. Now returning to scaling. Since we talked about sex, next we plan to work with DEX. There's an interesting model there. Skeptics might say that not all DEX have volume, and that's true, not all of them do, so how its arbitrage possibly can be there? It's an interesting strategy. I don't want to overload everyone's minds right now. When we launch this model, we will hold a separate technical Zoom about that and go through the smart contract in details, because it will be used there. To what extent? That is the question. We currently testing smart contract on DEXs, and they don't meet speed requirements. They're too slow. So hypothetically, we may use smart contracts only for certain purposes and on certain exchanges, but not everywhere. That's already another story. That's about the scaling. That's correct. So the idea of the company, it's not just to develop an idea, but to develop an existing model into something massive, to strengthen it through markets, strategies, and tools into a giant. I believe we will succeed, because we're working on this very actively, and I can see the real potential here. Yes, many people say this is my ego. Fine, let it be. They say, if you don't need anything, why do you need this? To close some internal goals. I want to do something that no one has ever done in this industry. Yes, I satisfy my own ambitions. But it's my needs. But if satisfying my ambitions brings financial benefits to partners, why not? You give me money, I give you money. And we all like each other, smile, everyone happy about this. I think this is a positive story and a positive business model. And I want it to stay that way. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to talk with you. Thank you for such a detailed answer. In this regard, you really surprised me a lot. In a good sense of word. As a person, as an individual, you have a very special view of the world, a special way of thinking. You are radically different from many people that I know. And you can really feel a strong entrepreneurial core in you. I wanted to say, I'm basically singing in your praises right now. I honestly got carried away listening to you because you not only have non-standard thinking, and of course, all truly wealthy people have non-standard thinking. That's well-known fact. There's a principle that we all know, and I really wanted to give you a big compliment regarding your personality and your extraordinary way of thinking, the way you approach business and life in general, and certain philosophical aspects that of course related to each of us, especially since we are on the eve of another new year. It's been a very difficult year for many people I know, for me as well. And once again, as our live broadcast time is actually coming to an end, I want to thank you for the fact you exist in our lives at all, that you appeared in my life, in the life of our partners, and that on the eve of this long-awaited year for many of us, you give us such incredible opportunities. This is huge respect and appreciation to you. Honestly, thank you. Thank you so much, Zhenya, sincerely for being with us, for bringing us with this wonderful business to give us such opportunity. With your permission, I voice one more question. There are really a lot of questions in chat. Thank you everyone who's helping us answer them in chat. The question is again related to what you partially mentioned, that guys shouldn't reinvest but shouldn't withdraw, and again going back to the beginning of our conversation today to how to build a team here. The question is following. I actually know the answer, but I still like to hear your opinion. When a person invites partners, those partners become members of their team and invest into smart contract. Their smart contracts ends, and accordingly, when that same person enters into a new smart contract, their upline partner receive bonuses again, and again, right? Accordingly, this person simply needs to withdraw their funds from the platform and then load them again to up the balance and enter into a new contract. Is everything correct? Am I right? Yes, basically yes, but look, don't take my words too literally. As the head of this business model, when I say don't reinvest in certain contexts, what I mean is this. In any case, even if you invested $1,000 and then reinvest another $1,000, your first $1,000 contract will still end, and that $1,000 will become mine anyway. I hope it doesn't sound so bad. In fact, this is also a philosophical question, whether to do it or not. As for partners who work with people, of course, for the network segment, this is a very beneficial. Why? Because with each new contract you receive 5% directly from the volume, from the activation volume of your partner within the arbitrage model overall. So yes, everything is exactly like that. Like you said, Marika. Excellent. Well, literally we're about 3 minutes left until the end of the broadcast. I think we should already let you go to your next negotiation and finally let you rest. So friends, the questions that you write in chat right now, please address them in our leadership chat or pass them onto your applying partners so that we can fill out the Google form. By the way, you won't believe it, new participants are still joining and joining. Just imagine, we've been talking for an hour already. We're still receiving additional members to today's live broadcast. It's amazing. People are just waking up and we're already wrapping up. Let's summarize. I think it's definitely makes sense to answer all the questions, but not in the format of this broadcast, rather in the format of personal chats and other presentations. I also want to inform members that tomorrow we have company presentation scheduled at 7 p.m. Moscow time, and I think I'll probably conduct it myself. So, as not to pull the Evgeny away from negotiations again, because as he said, today we're scaling globally. Very powerful teams are coming in and large number of people, everyone needs to be handled. So on that note, I need to make sense to end the broadcast. Evgeny, once again, thank you very much. I'm still receiving new members, people joining, want to listen to us. Friends, unfortunately, we can't broadcast forever, endlessly, and Zhenya really needs to rest. I can see you tired today, and there's still a lot of work ahead, possibly through the night. Once again, thank you. We'll post today's passive income percentage in chat, and we'll do everything we can to help support for the development of your company that you created. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you, Marika. Let this be my final words for today. Guys, those who came and listened, those who joined but didn't manage to listen, there will be a recording in any case, and of course this recording will be shared across all our chats and channels, both official and secondary ones, so I don't see any problems with everyone being able to listen and hear my opinion and the opinion of our partners. As for the questions and answers, yes, I agree that 1 hour is probably not enough, because they're rhetorical, philosophical questions, as we heard today, to get to know me better and how I think. But there are also technical questions from people who want to dive deeper into this. So I think maybe once every 2 weeks we should hold a large Zoom specifically for question and answers, where questions collected over a week or two, and then we calmly process them and conduct a big Zoom, 2-3 hours long, and answer absolutely any question that exists. It doesn't matter whether they're harsh or not, tricky or not, I can answer any questions, because this is my business. I love this business, and I can answer any questions related to both the technical side and certain philosophical thoughts regarding promotion and the business model itself. So guys, I personally want to thank you all very much. We think about dedicating more time to such moments so that we can cover more partners' questions and simply have more time to get to know each other and communicate. I think we will consider this model as well. On that positive note, have a great evening to those whom it's evening, and great morning to those for whom it's already morning. We're all in different time zones. So yes, have a great evening and a great morning. Thank you for being here, and see you next time. Thank you, Zhenya. I will just add literally one more minute. There are one more question in chat that I want to answer. Yes, you can create any number of deposits, smart contracts. You can conclude any number of contracts. If today you have, for example, 50, tomorrow you can do 100, the day after tomorrow 1000, you can conclude several contracts per day, as I understand, right? Right, good. Wait, Marika, wait a second. This is actually a good question. I'm glad I remembered it. You just mentioned concluding contracts. I personally already had this question raised before, and I want to voice it to the audience as well. They are partners who can work with very large sums. I was asked what limits exist on the maximum investment amount. What is the maximum amount of funds that can be invested, and how does this work, and there are any thresholds? Look, When a partner's investment exceeds a certain level, for example over $100,000, this question was asked to me and I just relayed it. In this case, of course, completely separate pools are formed. They are not connected in any way to the pools where the general users operate, which we form collectively. These pools are individual, and of course they work primarily for results. That's why partners who work with large sums actually themselves form these pools. We don't collect these funds together, and naturally, since these are large investors, it's also beneficial for us. Therefore, such pools are sent, let's say, as a priority segment into arbitrators. Arbitrates. Regular partners, even those starting from $50, do not feel this in any way. Again, I repeat, it might somehow affect daily percentage, but what matters is the final result. And everyone knows the final figure, how much they will earn, so again, in general, you shouldn't focus on the daily percentage or worry that today it was less and tomorrow it's more. In the end, you will still receive the amount you're supposed to receive. As for the large sums, yes, in that case, pools are formed directly from a single investor. How this will be displayed in a dashboard for such partners? We don't yet have such partners at the moment, but they definitely will appear. People are already asking about this. Then the partner will see not one pool, but for example 2, 3, 4, depending on the asset size. That is, they will see all their funds in different pools because we still split them, but nevertheless, the person feels these pools entirely with their own funds. Naturally, they will have some priority rights, and on the one hand, the percentage might even be higher because here and now we will give some privileges in terms of sending these funds into pools faster. But on the other hand, if we look at the longer distance, it might actually be less profitable because the contract will close faster and they will have to renew new contract again. So it's really 50-50. On the one hand, it may be faster, but again, once the contract ends, it has to be renewed. So I don't see any major deviation here. But the key point is that with larger volumes, a pool is split into parts and all these parts will be visible to the person in their personal accounts. That's what I wanted to clarify. Thank you. Thank you, Jenny, for the addition and for answering all the questions that we managed to raise today. Thank you very much. And I also wanted to say one last thing. For today, participants and those who will listen to the recording, and to our entire community in general, we have excellent technical support. It's available in our dashboard. You can click on support and for any requests, anything at all, if something isn't visible, something doesn't work, and so on, you can get help. Plus, there's also a section on the website where you log into your personal account. What is it called correctly? FAQ. Yes, FAQ, where you can get answers to almost all questions. And I'll slightly lift the veil, so to speak, making a groundwork for the future. Evgeny actually has a brilliant idea to connect the company's question and answer system, including to artificial intelligence, to AI, which many of us already use. And I think Jenny will tell us more about this very soon, but that will be next time. Let's keep some mystic around in the air. Thank you everyone for participation. Evgeny, thank you very much for spending so much time with us. Have a great evening. Thank you. Yes. Evening, day, morning, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.